something today that brings me the greatest joy. My sweet little neighbor, Jessie, is getting married. She has lived on this street and been my daughter Hannah's best friend since they were just a few years old. And so I wanted to do something for the bridal shower that we're having, and it includes an item that Jessie dearly loves. She has sat at our dining room table and the girls have made meringues together for years. So I want those to be on her dining table for the buffet that we're having for her shower. So if you want to learn how to make something that's very simple, can be beautifully elegant, only has 3 ingredients, and is so much fun, come with me today and learn how to make meringues. So I'm using a recipe that comes from my Joy of Cooking, which you guys have seen before, but look at this page. It is so well loved. It's got food coloring and fingerprints and you name it, because we have turned to this page so many times. But it's a really, really simple recipe. It's only gonna need egg whites, vanilla, and sugar. And so you're gonna want a mixing bowl that's impeccably clean. You cannot have 1 drop of oil, grease, or even a speck of egg yolk in your mixture. We want 2 cups of powdered sugar. And because these are so light and airy, we do want to make sure that our powdered sugar is sifted. We want to start with eggs that have come to room temperature, so leave them on your counter. Warm egg whites always flip better if they're about 72 degrees. Now, because this is so particular, I know everybody knows how to crack their eggs, but we're going to separate those into a bowl first, because sometimes it does happen occasionally that you'll get a little bitty bit of yolk in your whites, and if you get that in there, these will not beat up properly. This recipe calls for 4 eggs, but I'm using 8. So also, don't crack your egg on the side of your bowl. They, professional cooks, say that sometimes that will cause part of the shell to go into your egg white. They say crack it on a flat surface like your countertop. And a lot of times, I actually will use my hands. On something like this, there's no sharp edges. I want to make sure all that long fibrous white gets in my egg whites because that's really good for structure. It helps your meringues fluff up. Really like that. I think that separates the egg really well. It is a little messy, but it works great. Okay, there we are. So we're gonna put our egg whites in the mixing bowl. And to that, I do use cream of tartar. That helps a little bit, but we just need a tad. So for 8 eggs, I use 1/4 of a teaspoon, tiny amount. And we want a really good quality vanilla for this. I love the flavor of vanilla. So I'm actually gonna use quite a lot. I'm gonna use a tablespoon for 8 eggs. Then we're gonna put our balloon whisk on. We wanna get as much air in these bad boys as we can, and then let her rip. Now when this is foamy, we're gonna add 1 tablespoon at a time, all of that powdered sugar. When all the powdered sugar's in, I stop and scrape down the sides just to make sure that there's nothing left up on the sides, and then I continue to beat. Now what we're looking for is these very stiff peaks. Stiff peaks will be when you can lift up a big batch of it like this and it doesn't fall off a spoon. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? It's so glossy and shiny. It looks like satin. Oh, beautiful. I do use Wilton couplers and tips, but I don't use an actual forcing bag. I just use a gallon Ziploc bag that I have cut the corner off of. Then I'm going to want like a star tip or any kind of a tip with just a very subtle design to it.
Then once you get the coupler attached in the corner, I fold the Ziploc bag over my opened hand. And I do that because then I want to go ahead and fill all the ingredients in the bag, but I don't want the goop to get all over the slider closure. I want that part to stay clean. Then I just fill her up. Then I close it, and look how squeaky clean my slider is.
So I have two very, very large baking sheets prepped. One has Silpat and one has parchment. Either works, but it's basically because I only have one Silpat sheet that large. So then we just start piping. I want them to all be about the same size. And so I'm gonna make little circles about the size of a quarter. And then just bring the tip up like that. Make a little Dairy Queen top. You can put these pretty close. They're not going to expand in size.
Now to me, this is the fun part. I love just making these cute little kisses. So you just keep doing this over and over again, about 100 more times, till you have filled up both of your baking sheets. Now these are fine baked as is, but honestly, because it's a wedding, I'm going to add some edible gold glitter to the top. At Christmas, I actually add food coloring to the meringues as I'm beating the whites, and we make it bright green, and we turn these into little Christmas trees by adding multicolored candies and a little star on the top. So cute.
All right, see you later. Aren't those pretty? Woohoo! Okay, the way we check for doneness on a meringue is to open the oven. Now, I know that looks dark, but it's just the light. These will not have even changed color much at all. So what you're gonna wanna do is check to see if it will pick up off of the parchment paper easily. You don't want them to have browned on the bottom. You want them all to be just exactly like they were. They're gonna be firm and crisp. When you press it with your finger anywhere, if it indents even a little bit, you need to close the oven door and let them bake for another 15 minutes or so and then check again. So once they lift off the paper like this, they're done. We're gonna leave them in the oven. We're gonna turn the oven off and leave them in there until they cool. So that's maybe another 2 or 3 hours. And then you can remove them, put them in an airtight container or a Ziploc baggie, and they'll keep for a couple of weeks. Okay, y'all, it's time. You wanna see what these little yummy doodles are all about when they're finished? Here you go. It's very firm to the touch, very crisp, and the inside is almost like styrofoam, but listen to the texture. Very, very crunchy. Oh, they are so good. They are really, truly, they're like a little toasted marshmallow. So putting these together only takes about 15 minutes, but the baking is a while. However, that's not a babysitting kind of a job. You can put them in the oven, go run errands, come back, and then they're done. They're waiting for you. I hope you'll try these. Kids have so much fun making these. They love to squish them out in every shape imaginable. You can make blobs, circles, little kissies, Christmas tree shapes, wreath shapes, heart shapes. For any holiday, you can sprinkle them with little candy sprinkles. You can do dragées, stars. You can put them in a little tin at Christmas. You can put them in a little cellophane bag with a ribbon on them. Do just remember, they must be in an airtight container. Any dampness at all, they'll get really sticky. They'll kind of collapse and get chewy instead of crisp. They're still good, but they'll stick together. So make some. They are so much fun. And now very special blessings to Jesse and Austin. You've started your relationship honoring God, and I know you'll continue to do it throughout the rest of your marriage and the rest of your days. Thanks for joining me for one of our little family traditions. Just remember how much you're adored by the Father above and by me.